Hi, Dustin. Thank you so much for coming on Authentic AI for Entrepreneurs. I'm so excited to have you on the show.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, and I did already introduce you just a little bit in the intro, but I'd love to hear from you. Who are you? What do you do? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I like to tell people I'm an actor turned entrepreneur because I graduated high school, moved out to Hollywood to pursue acting, found out that in Hollywood, celebrities get to act and actors get to wait tables. I didn't like waiting tables, so I decided to start my own businesses. I had a knack for storytelling, obviously, as an actor, and that kind of naturally led me into marketing and blogging primarily in social media because really all social media marketing is telling good stories, in my opinion. For the last 15 years or so, I had a marketing agency that I started. We consulted businesses big and small, mom and pop shops, all the way up to people like Google, which you might have heard of, helping companies do better at their marketing, primarily in the areas of content marketing, social media marketing, and website design and development. We built websites for people and we drove lots of traffic to them. That's what my jam was. And so, yeah, after a while, I realized that I'm too much of a perfectionist to grow an agency. It was very hard to delegate perfectionism. And so
Mhm.
I found that if I channeled my love for crafting beautiful experiences into digital products, that I could help a lot of people at once and put my perfectionism to good use. And back in 2014, while still growing my agency and consulting, I decided to start building my first software businesses. And the first one was very successful. It was a WordPress plugin, did very well. And then after that, about 2020, I left that company and decided I want to start something new. I had a couple ideas that did not work out whatsoever. And eventually got to a place where just right time, the right trend, the right innovation that I saw was the future. And Magi was born. And that's where I sit today as the CEO of Magi.
Oh my goodness. I love that you realized this about yourself and then started to think, okay, how can I use this in a way that will actually work and that
Mhm.
I can actually help people?
Mhm.
So now we're sitting at Magi. Can you please share a little bit about what is Magi for the people who are listening?
Yeah, so Magi is an all-in-one AI platform. The problem that I saw at the beginning when ChatGPT hit the scene and blew everyone's minds, mine included, I started using it right away for my personal work, my client work, my businesses. And I just noticed like little things missing here and there, little quality of life things that mean a lot to me when I'm using a piece of software. And so as the
Right.
entrepreneur in me started to take note of these things, I was like, I think I could build a better interface for this. I can build a better version of ChatGPT that's more conducive to the solopreneur, the business owner who's doing it all, the agency owner who's trying to manage clients. So it really started as that, but then all these other AI tools started popping up, the image generators, the video generators, the OpenAI competitors. All of a sudden, Anthropic came out of nowhere as, a leading AI competitor. And then Google was working on theirs. And then all these other companies, Meta. And I realized here's what's going to happen to our ecosystem is you're going to have all these competing tools and they're going to keep leapfrogging each other in capabilities. And so we're going to be playing subscription ping pong. We're going to be bouncing from one subscription to the other, managing five different tools, all in different places, completely
Mhm.
obliterating our workflows and undermining the goal of AI, which is to help our productivity. So I thought, what if I put all of these tools, these exact same technologies, wrap them all into one beautiful interface that people can use easily and simply and not have to pay five different subscriptions. They get one subscription and they get 25 different AI tools.
We're less than 5 minutes in, and you already sold me.
Huh?
That's exactly what so many of us, like, struggle with when it comes to AI tools is, "Okay, which one should I choose?"
Mhm.
And then it takes so long, firstly, to try them out. You often have to, yeah, do all the different subscriptions, and then you're
Yeah.
juggling them, and you're like, "I don't even know what I'm paying for." And also, oh, man, I'm funny when it comes to all the advice you hear in the AI world out there because often when people just start using AI tools, they're like nervous about it.
Mhm.
And then they like dip their toes into the world and they're like overwhelmed by it, like by
Mhm.
all the advice and all things. And so many people are like, I like Claude this week,
Mhm.
but I like ChatGPT this week.
Yeah,
And like, it's just so
it
confusing.
is.
So
It's hard to keep up
it's,
with, and I live it every day, and I still have a hard time keeping up with it all.
yeah. So I'm so glad that Magi makes it a little bit more simple. And that's another thing that I hear about ChatGPT too, is like it truly is this awesome software. And like the interface is fine. But there's so many like little things
Mhm.
that I'm like, why don't you do this? Like,
Yeah,
why don't you make this easier? Like, even get like adding folders or like an organization system of
folders.
some
Yeah.
sort. Does Magi like speak to that at all or help with that?
Folders and workspaces and the ability to search through my previous chats. Those are the
Yes.
three things that I wanted desperately when I was using
Mhm.
ChatGPT. And those are some of the first things we built into Magi back in February of 2023, over a year and a half ago, maybe a year and 9 months ago. So yeah, like that was super important to me. And so built-in search and filter, right? I want to find the thing that I made last week and want to reference it
Mhm.
again or return to that conversation. The ability to put things into folders and stay organized. So I can put my marketing stuff here, my blog post stuff here. I can put my administrative stuff here, but also workspaces. So again, me as an entrepreneur, I have a business, I have clients, and I have my personal stuff. I don't want them all intermingled in the same
Mhm.
list, right? I want to be able to silo those off so that my kids' chats, where I'm using to explain concepts that are complicated to my kids who are like 7 years old, I can keep those completely siloed off and I can switch workspaces and only see what's available, what I created for a specific workspace. I'm a bit of an
Okay.
organization freak myself. So you can see
I
we're
know
clean
that.
experience in that way.
Oh, and I know my listeners right now too are like, "Wait, tell me more."
Like, we're-
It's like, seriously, this is one of those things that like I have felt myself, and I know so many of my students have too. That is so great. So tell me a little bit about what tools Magi brings together and what that looks like within your system. Because I know that, yeah, that's like a big concern for a lot of people too is which tool do I choose? Like when you're using Magi, does it make it easy to like figure out which tool you should be using right now?
Yeah. So I wanted to make Magi for the people that I have a heart for. And those are the people who are too busy doing work to learn all the technical stuff. Like I did not build Magi for developers. Now, the crowd, the audience that seems to take to AI the fastest are developers and high tech engineers. And I didn't want to build a product for them, even though I understand their language, I understand their needs. The people that mean the most to me are the people grinding it out every day, writing content and
Even.
managing teams and trying to grow their business. They don't have time to learn all the technical stuff. So I wanted to make it as easy and simple to use as possible. And so when you jump into Magi, there are three types or modes of AI that we currently employ. It's the chat bots, the chat GPTs, the Claudes, the Metas, the Geminis. But we also have image generators. So you can go generate
Mm.
images and then you can turn those images into videos if you like, because we have video generators. Soon we'll have audio as well. But from a chat standpoint, if you've used Chat GPT or Claude or any of these other chatbot tools, you jump into Magi and it feels familiar. I didn't want to
Mhm.
reinvent the interface. Like they did a lot of things right with the chat interface. And so it's very simple to go in, start a conversation with the default AI, which is GPT-4, the most advanced version of their chatbot model, or you can choose a different one. And it's as simple as hitting a drop down and seeing a list of the available models. And we literally, I think it's 18, maybe 20 different models, which
Wow.
seems intimidating. But the fact that you can easily change between them during a conversation means you can effectively test them all out. Does this one work better for this? Maybe I'll try this one. Maybe I'll try this one and just see which one works best for you. And that was really important to me to allow people the room and the space to explore. And then we've also built a lot of quality of life tools like the folders and the workspaces and the search and filter. Things like having a document editor right inside the chat. A lot of times I'm writing a blog post or I'm writing a landing page and I want to go back and forth between the chat bot answers and the article that I'm writing or the landing page that I'm writing. So Magi gives you the same thing on one page. You know, you get a document and you get the chat bot right in the same place. So you don't have to tab back and forth or app switch back and forth. Things like pasting a YouTube link or pasting a web URL. On ChatGPT or these other apps, the AI can't go visit a landing page. But if in Magi you paste a URL, Magi realizes, oh, they probably want the AI to know what's on that page. So we'll go grab the content of that page automatically for you, attach it to your prompt so that it has it. Or in the case of a YouTube video, it'll grab the transcript of that YouTube video and attach it to your prompt with zero work from you. So It's quality of life stuff. Things that just make it super easy, intuitive to just get the work done.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, seriously, guys, I'm gonna go try this out for myself after this. Cause literally, I feel like every one of my audience members who's like working with these tools regularly, and especially those people who are managing multiple clients, like you said, oh man, that is
Yeah.
just so huge to be able to switch between the interfaces. Okay. When it comes to using ChatGPT, I've told my audiences, heard me say this before, I have to set boundaries with the AI tools I
Mhm.
use because otherwise it'll get out of control. I really only stuck to ChatGPT for the most part because I'm like, okay, this is my boy. But I love using the file upload feature of
Mhm.
ChatGPT. And then also it's really important to me. The most important thing is to be able to get the responses that I want
Mhm.
out of it, to train it on my brand, and also to be able to instruct it and give it like what it needs to give me the answers I want from the get-go,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Yeah.
can you use the file upload feature in Magai still?
Yeah, absolutely. You can upload any
Okay.
type of file, whether that's a text document, a PDF, spreadsheet. I think we support up to 22 or 23 different, 24 different file types. As long as it
Mhm,
can be text can be extracted from it, you can use it inside the chat. Even images. So some of the models, they can actually see images. And so you can upload
mhm.
images if you're using things like GPT-4 or Claude 3. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely do that.
Okay, awesome. And then do you have any, like, settings within Magi where you train the bot like, where you could train a custom chat bot, for example, or train it already on your
Yeah,
brand
I,
and
I
stuff?
think that's super important. In ChatGPT, they have things called GPTs. Are you familiar with what
Mhm.
GPTs are? Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
we have that same concept. We call them personas, except
Mhm.
the difference with ours is we had them 9 months before OpenAI had theirs. So I taught people how to use these personas and how to build these personas from day one. And the reason for that is because they're so much more effective. Like you said, you want to get the right thing out of the AI. And by default, the AI doesn't have your tone of voice. It doesn't have
Mm.
your writing style. It doesn't have your vocabulary in mind, right? It has its own sort of generic style. And so creating a persona is essentially telling the AI, hey, it's cool that you have this huge swath of data. Let's focus you in this direction with these instructions. And that's what a persona does. And you get so much better content out of it. It went from me telling it to write this for me, and then me having to spend 10 minutes editing it because it just didn't sound anything like me, to now I
Mhm.
feed it or I assign it the persona that I've created for my brand voice. And I make maybe one or two edits
Yeah.
because it automatically sounds like me. It knows it has samples of my writing style and very well. I've written several blog posts about this and the difference between simply prompting an AI to do this. It's one thing to go into the chat and prompt it and say, hey, act like this, use this tone of voice. That will work to an extent, but the way that personas and even GPTs work is it's a system level prompt. It's a prompt that's given to the AI behind the scenes, and that AI then sees this instruction as the highest priority. It's like the lens that
Mhm.
it views everything through. And so it's much more powerful to do it in the form of a persona or a GPT, or in the case of Claude, I think they call them projects and they have these things called a custom context, essentially all the same concept. You're giving the AI instructions at the system level, and now that's its highest priority. And on top of that, it never, it never leaves the AI's memory. So many people aren't aware that AI does have a limited memory and it will start to forget things. But if you've put your instructions into the system at the system level, it never forgets. It's always present in the instructions and it's its highest priority.
Yes. Oh, I love that little explanation because I don't think we've chatted about the different like levels of instructions on this show yet. But that makes so much sense and
Mhm.
so much sense why a GPT, a custom GPT, is a little bit better
Yeah.
than just like training the chat window. I have a system where I use what I call the brand blueprint. It's like
Mhm.
this 80-page document that outlines everything about my brand. And I will upload that to my chat windows, and I'm, like, continually saying, "Okay, reference this part of the document, remember this part." But, yeah, if I use my custom ChatGPT, my custom GPT that's trained on that document already,
Mhm.
it just knows that
Yeah.
stuff at the highest
Yeah.
system
You don't
level.
have to
That makes
re-upload it
sense.
every time, and it's going to be much better at sticking to it.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. Okay. So a few more just like technical questions. I like to get super nerdy with this stuff. So with the
I'm here for it. Let's do it.
image generation integrations that you have, I tend to use Midjourney. I
Yeah.
am paying for Midjourney monthly, which is probably I do use it for my branding. Okay. I have fun with it for my authentic AI branding,
Yeah.
but like, is it worth it for me? Like, it seems like it might be worth it for me to more pay for Magi and then have access to ChatGPT and but do you use Midjourney or what image generation do you guys have
So
integrated?
unfortunately, Midjourney is the only AI company out there that I'm aware of that is completely hostile to developers. They will not let anybody use their technology outside of their
Mm.
platform or outside of their Discord server or outside of their web app. They are being completely selfish so far as to serve cease and desist letters to any company, any developer that finds a way around their system. So Magi does
Okay.
not support Midjourney because Midjourney does not support anyone but themselves.
Oh,
I'm
no.
not bitter about that at all, or I have no feelings about
No,
that
of course.
whatsoever. I hope their company fails. No, I'm just kidding. Hope they do very well. I just hope that they someday realize that they can do a lot better if
Sharing is
they,
caring.
yes, they share their technology with the community. So unfortunately, we don't support Midjourney. But the good
Mhm.
news is there's a lot of other AI models out there that are catching Midjourney in terms of quality. I do still think their app is the most flexible. It is the highest quality
Mhm.
for very specific styles. And that's what you'll
Mhm.
find with chatbots or image generators, even video generators. Each one kind of has their own little thing that they're best at. They have strengths, they have weaknesses. DALL-E,
Mhm.
for example, OpenAI's own image model, it's really good at a lot of things, but it's not super great at photorealism. You can ask
Mhm.
it to
Mhm.
create something photoreal, and you can almost always tell it's AI generated.
Mhm.
Whereas with Midjourney, there are some things it can produce that are so lifelike and so photoreal that you
Mhm.
wouldn't be able to tell. So right now, Magi, oh gosh, I'd have to count. I think there's 8 different AI image generators that we support. Of those image generators are one of my favorites we support Dolly, of course, and we support a company called Leonardo.ai, which is
Mhm.
a fantastic company. They just got acquired by Canva. And in my opinion, Leonardo is the one to keep an eye on because they have such they have such a variety of models. It's not just one AI model. They fine tune different versions of their AI model to be good at specific things. And so
Mhm.
what I love about them is you can really find the one that's best for your specific scenario and get the best output for that exact goal that you have. If you want photorealism,
Mhm.
you pick the one that's good at photorealism. You want something that's anime or cartoony, you pick the model that's good at anime or cartoons. So it's
Yeah.
really cool how they have a variety. The big one that is making a huge splash right now is called Flux Pro. And
Mhm.
Flux, in my opinion, actually exceeds Midjourney in terms of photorealism. And it's a phenomenal tool. It does text really well. I've got some images that I've produced through using Flux that you, even the biggest AI expert in the world would not be able to tell it's AI generated. You can put words in the background, you can have it write text, and it's so good. I can't stop using it. But we also support Ideogram. Ideogram is a very popular one. It was one of the first AI models to be able to do text in images. And they just released their version 2.0, and all Magi users have access to it as well. And then we have Stable Diffusion, which is like the industry standard. They're the open source AI image generator that pretty much everyone else is using, but they're fine tuning on their own. And yeah, I think that covers it. Oraflow, Dolly, Leonardo, Flux Pro, Flux Schnell, which is not quite as good, but much faster. Ideogram, Stable Diffusion 3. A lot of variety. So it gives you, again, that ability to test different ones for your different
Mhm.
objectives. If you have one objective, it's like, I need photorealism. I'll try the other ones, find the one that's good at that. Okay, this one, I need a slide for my presentation, find one that does the best at that. And so you have the option to just pick and find the ones that work best for your given scenario.
Yeah, I know that was coming up for me too, because especially for whatever reason, when it comes to the image generation stuff, exactly. That would be so helpful to be able to just test different tools for that, like within That's where I really notice like the difference in, yeah, like you said, some of them have sweet spots with certain things and
Yeah.
some of them sweet spots with others. And so that would be so helpful. Okay. I also have a question, just like selfishly. My other AI tool that I use all the time is Descript.
Oh,
And Descript does have the built-in feature, the Underlord, but it's fine. ChatGPT definitely gives me better when it comes to writing and stuff, but it is easy to use Descript's Underlord for like show notes because it's just right within there. But also the Underlord's interface, if you want to prompt it yourself, is like still shitty because it's just like this one little area, you know, over the top. And anyway, do you have any integrations for Descript and or like possibly could add some soon or?
that's the first time actually I've been asked about that. I haven't had anybody else ask if we could integrate with Descript. I'm not familiar with their Underlord feature. I've never actually heard it before today, but I
Oh,
hear about
okay.
it all the time. I think Descript has built a phenomenal application. Just the idea that you can edit a video by editing text still blows my mind. I think they've done a great job. But yeah, it's definitely something I could look into if there's a way that they have an API that developers can hook into and pull in. If they do, then absolutely, I would love to integrate it in them. We're currently looking at several other API integrations like Zapier and make.com and trying to allow users to connect outside apps to do things, to have automations run. And Descript would be a very interesting one to integrate.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, let me know whenever you guys do, because I totally would love that. Because yeah, exactly. It's so they're yeah, they named their AI tool the Underlord, which like people are either like what or
Dominance.
love it. Like, and I'm a nerd and I love it. But yeah, like it's okay. It does a good job. It does like a lot of different things, but I would love for it to be able to integrate with like ChatGPT, for example,
Yeah.
more easily and stuff. But anyway, ooh, I think Magi just sounds so cool. Can you talk to us about, like, the pricing structure and what does that look like, and how can this make sense for solopreneurs to invest in Magi instead of, like, lots of different things and stuff?
Yeah. So again, I wanted it to be easy and sensible for small business owners, solopreneurs like myself. So our pricing structure is pretty straightforward. Everything is predicated on two factors. How many users do you need to access the inside the team? Because everything you sign up for Magi, you have a team. It's either a team of one or a team of many. So how many users do you need and how much output do you need in a given month? Because all these AI
Right.
models, they charge me for the usage, right? So we have to build our systems around how much output we can give the users in a given month to match their plan level. And so it's pretty straightforward. The $19 a month plan is the base level plan. You get one user and you get about 50,000 words per month that you can generate. Now, the caveat there is every AI model costs differently, right?
Mm.
So it's not that GPT-4 costs the same as Gemini Pro. So we have to have a way to mitigate that. So you can get the maximum amount of usage based on the model. We have what's called a multiplier system. So if you
Mm.
generate 100 words with GPT-4, it has a 1x multiplier, which means it costs you 100 words from your monthly quota. But if you use Gemini Pro, for example, it's a 0.1x multiplier, 1/10 the cost. So you generate 100 words with Gemini Pro, it only costs you 10 from your monthly. So in that way, the 50,000 words a month, you can actually stretch it to as much as 500,000 words, just based on
Mm.
the model that you're using. And so we base everything based on this word bank system. You get X number of words per month based on your plan, and every generative action you do costs you X number of words based on the AI model that you're using.
Yeah, okay, that's really interesting. Do you guys have any, like, free trial or anything like
We
that,
don't
or?
have a free trial currently because there was so much abuse. I just had to
Oh,
remove it.
man.
My API bills were starting to get astronomical because people were just taking advantage of the system. And so I had
Mhm.
to remove it, but we do have a generous 30-day refund policy. You try it, you don't
Oh,
like
wow.
it didn't work, just send us a support message. We'll refund you, no questions asked, as long as it's within that first 30-day window.
And yeah, totally understand that. Cool. Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to take a look at Magi because it sounds like just even for the interface and the organization and be able to use the tools you want and switch between them. That sounds so helpful for
Yeah,
people like
and it's
me.
also especially helpful for like the people with small teams. So for me, for example, when I first started, I had a VA And then I had like a couple contractors that were helping me. And I wanted them to be able to use AI, but I didn't want to pay $20 a month for each of their subscriptions. So with
Mhm.
Magi's $29 a month plan, you get up to 5 users and you're still only paying $29 a month. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
really
Yeah.
much easier to scale and manage your team and giving them access to the best of the best tools without scaling your costs.
Yep. Okay. I'm so glad that you said that too, because I think that a lot of us, maybe in our minds, we're like, oh, we don't know how much then the extra team members are. And okay, not to throw Airtable under the bus, but yes, I'm doing it because Airtable's like team system is so horrible where you end up spending so much money. So yeah, $30 a month for 5 team
Yeah.
members sounds awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing all of this with us. I do like to sometimes just wrap up with this question of, so where do you see AI going? Like, how are you feeling about the future of AI?
I mean, I'm super excited about it, obviously, because as a creative myself, I see so much creative potential. A lot of people are looking at AI, oh, it's going to stunt our creativity, it's going to hinder our creativity. And as somebody who's been working as a creative professional in the area of design and content writing for the last 15 years, I can honestly say I've never been more excited about a technology that will help my creativity. Just like when Canva hit the scene, if you were around when Canva came on board, designers were up in arms like, oh, this is going to kill designers, it's going to take designer jobs and it's going to kill creativity. No, it only enhanced it. My problem as a content creator is I only have so much creativity every day. And when I
Mm.
was managing 12, 15 different clients, producing social content for them, producing blog posts and article marketing content for them, newsletter content, I was wiped out and I just burnt myself out over and over again because I was spending all this creativity creating every single day. What AI
Mm.
does is it augments our creativity. It's not here to replace it. It's only as good as your input. The old adage is garbage in, garbage out. So if you are good at what you do and you tell the AI how to help you with what you do, you're only going to get better output. You're going to save your creative energy for the most important work, which I think is the refinement. And you talk a lot about authenticity, which I think is of the utmost importance when it comes to creating with AI. If all you're doing is copy and pasting what it spits out, that's not authentic. That's not you. I like to see myself as editor in chief. When people hired me to write for them or hired my team to be ghostwriters, it wasn't inauthentic for them to hire us as ghostwriters. They still put their reputation on the line. We had to match that client's voice and that client had to review it and approve it, right? They had to put their stamp of approval. So when you're creating with AI, it's going to help you shortcut and save some of that creativity that you would probably burn yourself out trying to pour it all out. It's going to give you some of that back. But on top of that, you need to sit as editor in chief. You need to take responsibility for what it comes out with. And so if you are sitting there editing and auditing everything that it outputs, I think it's no less authentic than if you were to write it yourself. And on top of that, you have more time to do the important work, which is connecting with your audience, building those relationships, and really spending the time on the things that matter, the one-on-ones, the eye to eye, the face to face.
Yes,
I'm
you
super
are
excited
like,
about that. I think there's a lot going to happen in the next 2-3 years in AI.
Mhm.
To answer your question more directly, I think we're going to see a convergence of all these different modes of generative AI. Right now, they're still separate. You can do images inside of the chat, but you can't do video yet. Audio is kind of iffy. I think what's going to happen over the next 2 to 3 years is we're going to see this chat interface become the all-in-one interface where it's going to have every medium of technology and output formats and input formats in one place. These AI models are going to become so smart that they can literally tap into all the other types of generative capabilities. And that's
The
exciting.
Omni model.
Omni,
And then we'll
exactly.
hit the Omni models, and then AGI will finally be discovered or whatever the heck they're trying to do, like,
And then
but
Skynet will happen and we'll all be
and then
running.
yeah, but no, not just kidding, guys, just kidding. But oh my goodness, thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge. And yeah, totally everything that you said about creativity and authenticity, we totally agree with on this show. And I love to, you know what you made me think about? Of course, I have felt the same thing about like I was really worried about creativity and critical thinking skills going down the drain for our culture when I first
Mhm.
heard about AI tools. And then I started using them. I'm like, oh no, this can improve our critical thinking. This can
Right.
expand our creativity. And also, I totally feel what you mean about the energy conservation,
Right.
but I never thought about it. I'm like, had this flashback to like feeling that creative burnout, right?
Yeah.
Like, you really can, especially as content creators. I am a social media manager on the
Mhm.
back end of this stuff. And like, man, I remember what it used to be like with my clients and myself creating content for all these. And it wasn't just the daily grind burnout, it was that creative burnout. And I
Mhm.
haven't felt that for like the past year. That's so
Right.
crazy to think about, right?
Yeah, I think social media content creators, more than any other form of content creation, feel that burnout more. Like I said, I
Mhm.
was there for several years and managing many clients, and the demand on creating new ideas and coming out and churning out more and more content is so high, and the burnout is so much faster and so much easier. And AI is here to save the day, to stop us from burning out.
Seriously. Seriously. Oh, man. Okay. I have loved this combo. Thank you so much. Can you please share with everyone how they can connect with you and find out more about Magi and all the things?
Yeah, I am at Dustin W. Stout on all the social things. So you can find me pretty much anywhere. And Magi is magai.co, magi.co. And you can find out more information there.
Awesome. And also, side note, love the name. Just love the play on the word. But anyway, thank you so much, Dustin. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you. It was great to be here.